Would that unemployment rate be higher if the stimulus bill had not passed? Republican Paul Ryan of Wisconsin is the ranking member of the House Budget Committee. He joins us now. He did not support the stimulus bill. He does not support it now. Congressman, give us your views.
Well, first of all, the claim was the stimulus would keep unemployment below 8%. It's now 9.5. What we have already lost is 2 million jobs since the stimulus passed. More to the point, the stimulus is going to cost $1.1 trillion in borrowing, and that's pushing interest rates up, and that is hurting people who are trying to buy homes, who are trying to avoid foreclosure, who are trying to invest. And so when we see the stimulus, which is spent very slowly, the kind of spending in this stimulus doesn't even occur, most of it doesn't even occur until after 2011. It's not working. We should do something better. And only 3% of the stimulus package actually goes to encouraging businesses to keep or create jobs. The rest of it is rebates and spending. Most of the spending is slow, wasteful, and ineffective.
And you fundamentally just don't believe we should be borrowing money that we don't have because we're running all of these deficits. We should be borrowing money to try to get ourselves out of a debt problem. And that's your philosophical point of view on this. Paul Krugman, who is, won a Nobel Prize for economics. He's a New York Times economist. I want to read to you something that he just said about how some of these issues are playing out politically. The bad employment report for June made it clear that the stimulus was indeed too small. Republicans and some Democrats have treated any bad news as evidence of failure rather than as a reason to make the policy stronger. So he's saying that it's not necessarily, he would like to see maybe see even a bigger stimulus.
That's right. I've heard his argument. I just don't agree with that. More borrowing. Look, we're already borrowing 50% of the federal government's budget this year alone. We're borrowing $2 trillion just this year. All this borrowing is going to push up interest rates. It's going to give us an inflation problem. And we believe that the stimulus, and we propose an alternative, ought to go to businesses, small and large, to encourage them to keep people working, to encourage businesses to invest and expand and hire more people, more spending through Washington. Look, if more spending from Washington was the answer to our economy, then we wouldn't have a problem in our economy because we're spending more than we ever have in the history of this country.
Let's talk about that, Representative. Let's talk about that. You're talking about more money to businesses. Ultimately, businesses don't invest if consumers aren't going to buy. But what specifically are you saying we should do? What kind of incentives do you provide for businesses, and who pays for that?
Well, what we say is we should give a business ability to write off 100% of their investments. If they hire people, if they buy more plant and machinery to put people to work, they can write that off immediately. We also tax our companies, our corporations, at the second highest rate in the industrialized world. And so what happens in the 21st century global economy is when you tax your employers a lot more than your competitors are taxing theirs, we lose jobs overseas. We've got to be more competitive. And so those are the things we're saying we ought to do. And also, we think we ought to help people make the money back in their savings portfolio that they lost. That's why we think we ought to have a sunset of the capital gains tax for at least 2 years. And it's not a huge revenue raiser for the government, but it's a huge punitive tax on our savings plans. Let's help the economy get back into investing. Let's encourage investors to take risks. And let's help people make back the money in their IRAs, their 401ks, their kids' college savings plans that they've lost so much money from.
Meanwhile, many of the Democrats they're preaching patience. They say, look, only 10% of this money is out. Let's just give it some time. We have to leave it there, though. Congressman Paul Ryan
from
Wisconsin. Thank you so much.